Wow, Japan is going to launch hypersonic missiles in the Philippines. They're so smart in China. Imagine, there is a weapon that can change the balance of power in the hottest place in the world. Imagine there is a missile that is so fast and so deadly. It can sink a warship before they know that it is coming. Imagine it is in the hands of the country that wants to control the influence of China. It's like a Hollywood movie, right? But it's not just your imagination, guys. In the next few minutes, we will know how Japan's ship-killer missile can change the situation in the West Philippine Sea, and why it can be the secret weapon of the Philippines against China's aggression. But not only that, we have a surprise twist involving France and America that you didn't expect. Promise you want to watch this until the end, because you will know where the Philippines strategy can go. The West Philippine Sea is a vast water that became the center of a huge geopolitical drama. To understand the current tensions, we need to delve into history. After World War II, the United States established a network of military bases and alliances across the Pacific. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, this strategy now aims at containing a rising China. China's rapid economic growth has been accompanied by a significant military buildup. It has also built artificial islands in the South China Sea, equipping them with military facilities. These actions have raised alarm bells in Washington and other capitals in the region. Tokyo worries that Beijing's ultimate goal is to dominate the entire Western Pacific. Japan's development of hypersonic missiles is a significant escalation in the region's arms race. These missiles, capable of maneuvering at high speeds and changing course mid-flight, pose a significant challenge to traditional missile defense systems. Their deployment would give Japan a powerful deterrent against any potential Chinese aggression. However, this move is not without risks. China has already condemned Japan's hypersonic missile program, warning of serious consequences if Japan goes ahead with its deployment plans. Some experts fear that deploying these missiles in the Philippines could provoke China, leading to a dangerous escalation of tensions. Despite the risks, Japan seems determined to proceed. Tokyo argues that it needs to strengthen its defenses in the face of China's growing military might. Japan's leaders believe that only a credible military deterrent can ensure peace and stability in the region. The potential deployment of Japanese hypersonic missiles in the Philippines is a clear signal of Tokyo's resolve. It is a gamble, but one that Japan seems willing to take. The question is, how will China respond? The Philippines finds itself at the epicenter of this geopolitical storm. Manila's decision on whether or not to allow the deployment of Japanese hypersonic missiles on its soil will have far-reaching consequences. On the one hand, hosting these missiles would significantly bolster the Philippines' security against Chinese aggression. It would also deepen Manila's alliance with Tokyo and Washington. On the other hand, agreeing to host Japanese missiles could make the Philippines a target for Chinese retaliation. Beijing has already shown its willingness to use economic and diplomatic pressure against countries that challenge its assertive stance in the South China Sea. The Philippines, with its growing economic dependence on China, cannot afford to ignore this risk. The Philippines' dilemma highlights the difficult choices facing many countries in the region. Caught between a rising China and a more assertive US-Japan alliance, these nations are being forced to choose sides. This polarization of the region is a worrying trend, increasing the risk of miscalculation and conflict. The United States, despite its global commitments, remains a Pacific power. Washington has a vested interest in maintaining peace and stability in the region, which is crucial for global trade and security. The US Navy's 7th Fleet, based in Japan, is a testament to America's enduring presence in the Pacific. The US has been actively strengthening its alliances in the region, providing military aid and conducting joint military exercises with countries like Japan, the Philippines, and Australia. Washington has also been vocal in its criticism of China's actions in the South China Sea, conducting freedom of navigation operations to challenge Beijing's expansive maritime claims. However, some experts question the effectiveness of America's current strategy. They argue that the US needs to do more to reassure its allies and deter Chinese aggression. They call for increased military spending, a greater forward presence in the region, and a more coherent strategy for dealing with a rising China. Adding another layer of complexity to the situation is the growing involvement of France. As a resident power with territories in the Pacific, France has a direct stake in regional security. Paris has also been increasingly vocal in its support for a free and open Indo-Pacific, a vision that aligns with that of the US, Japan, and others concerned about China's growing influence. France has conducted joint military exercises with the US and Japan in the region, and is strengthening its military ties with countries like India and Australia. Paris sees these partnerships as crucial for maintaining a rules-based international order and counterbalancing China's growing assertiveness. France's involvement in the Indo-Pacific is not solely motivated by concerns about China. Paris also sees an opportunity to assert its role as a global power and defend its strategic interests in a region of growing geopolitical importance. This multifaceted approach adds another layer of complexity to the already intricate web of alliances and rivalries in the Indo-Pacific. China views the growing military cooperation between the United States, Japan, the Philippines, and France with suspicion. Beijing sees these partnerships as an attempt to contain its rise and prevent it from achieving its rightful place as a leading power in the region. China maintains that its actions in the South China Sea are justified and accuses the United States and its allies of provoking tensions. Beijing argues that it is simply safeguarding its territorial integrity and economic interests. China points to its long history in the region and its growing economic interdependence with its neighbors as evidence of its peaceful intentions. However, China's actions, including its military build-up, island-building activities, and assertive rhetoric, tell a different story. China's response to the growing military presence of the United States and its allies in the region has been a mix of diplomacy and military posturing. Beijing has engaged in diplomatic efforts to ease tensions with some of its neighbors, while simultaneously conducting military exercises and deploying its own advanced weapons systems to demonstrate its resolve. This dual-track approach highlights China's determination to defend its interests, while avoiding a direct military confrontation with the United States and its allies. The escalating military buildup in the Indo-Pacific is a dangerous game with potentially catastrophic consequences. The risk of miscalculation, accident, or unintended escalation is very real. All sides involved need to exercise restraint and pursue diplomatic solutions to avoid a conflict that no one can win. The economic cost of this arms race is also significant. Resources that could be used for development, education, and healthcare are being diverted to military spending. This diversion of resources comes at a time when the world is facing numerous challenges, including climate change, pandemics, and poverty. The world cannot afford another Cold War, especially not in a region as economically and strategically important as the Indo-Pacific. Dialogue, diplomacy, and cooperation are essential to prevent a slide into conflict. The future of the Indo-Pacific hangs in the balance. The region is at a crossroads, facing a choice between cooperation and conflict. The path chosen will have profound implications, not only for the region, but for the entire world. On the one hand, there is hope. The countries in the region share common interests, including economic prosperity, security, and stability. There is potential for cooperation on issues such as trade, climate change, and pandemic preparedness. On the other hand, the challenges are significant. The geopolitical rivalry between the United States and China shows no signs of abating. The risk of miscalculation and escalation remains high. The future of the Indo-Pacific hinges on the choices made by the leaders of the countries involved. The world has entered a new era of great power competition. The rivalry between the United States and China is the defining geopolitical feature of our time. This rivalry is playing out most acutely in the Indo-Pacific, a region of vital strategic and economic importance. The stakes are high. The outcome of this competition will shape the future of the international order. It is imperative that all sides exercise restraint, pursue dialogue, and seek common ground to prevent this rivalry from escalating into a conflict that no one can win. The world is watching, hoping that wisdom and diplomacy will prevail.